on everyone? Welcome to the second episode of the Coffee Break podcast. I'm so sorry it's been so long. College has been getting on top of me, but I'm back here with the podcast and we're going to be talking about three main topics today. We're going to be talking about some misconceptions I've had as a blind person, stupid questions that get asked, and some most popular questions via the internet and ones that have been asked. And also, before we get into those, I'm going to start off with the most negative outcomes that I've had being blind, which is inaccessible situations and apps that I have experienced as a blind person. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So when I was in primary school, I had not really inaccessible things. Like, for example, sports was okay. I could do sports. I couldn't really do it in secondary school. They wouldn't let me do it. It was more work. I had this visual impairment team, the VI team, that would come in and see me, and they provided me work. Then the school wouldn't do anything to basically get that passed over to me. So I remember one time I was actually talking to my sister about this, like literally the other day. I think it was yesterday even. I was telling her one time they were all doing these coordinates, and I didn't know how to do that because no one taught me, and so I had to go and sit in this room away from everyone and have this laptop. And then I remember I got to year 7 and we were doing coordinates, and everyone was a bit more like they were more in front in the way of like they knew what to do, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I felt embarrassed. I didn't know how to do it. And thinking back on it now, it was a bit shady from my primary school to not get anyone in to actually, because I did get help with maths, but they didn't actually get the help I needed to. I don't know, it was really weird. The second thing that I can vividly remember in being in primary school is the lack of, basically, I I got a lot of attention and I got hindered and treated like a kid. But I also feel like that's my fault as well, because I used to be like, oh yeah, I like it when I get things done because I don't have to do it. And I got to this point where I was like, no, this isn't going to work. I need to get somewhere in life. And if I'm basically not being independent, it's going to set me back. So primary school, I had a bit more downs in secondary school. Primary school, there was only a couple, and I'd get these really weird one-to-ones that just didn't know how to handle me. I've had so many. Like, I remember one. I remember one who was trying to feed me when I was in like year 2, and I was like, "Am I a baby?" Like, no. But then at that time, I lacked the independency, so I just kind of let it happen, which I shouldn't have done. So, yeah, I feel like it's my fault on that part. I feel like I let people kind of do things for me, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, because you've got to admit your faults. And so I got to a point where I was like, no, I'm not having this anymore. And people just try to do things for me, and I'll be like, no, I know how to do it. I still get it sometimes now from people. I really, half the time I think they just don't know, and it's more like with older people, they don't know how to handle it. So secondary school, I tell this story to my cousins, my uncle, his friends, and my uncle's friend's actually a PE teacher. You know who I'll shout out to you. And when I told him this story, it was just ridiculous. He was astounded. So when I was in I think it started around year 8, year 9. I'm gonna say year 9. I used to play netball and basketball. Basketball was my favourite game to play. And I remember one time, and this never used to bother me because I used to just chat to my friend. Shout out you, Lily. But I remember I would be playing. Me and Lily would be guiding me, and I would have to basically give the ball to the. excuse me. I'd have to give the ball to the players. So, for example, I they would there were mostly there were two teams, and I had to, if the ball went out their courts, I had to go and deliver it to the teams, and it was just ridiculous because I was just like, at first it didn't bother me because I was just like, oh, okay, I don't have to, I don't have to work. Me and Lily can just chat the whole lesson. So that was my role. I had to basically be a ball girl. And I nicknamed myself that. And I used to make fun of myself. I used to have to give the ball to both teams. So, for example, if there were two teams, if someone gets the ball out their court, as I said, I would have to go and give it to them. Or if someone threw the ball out by accident, even in football, I'd have to even if it was football, I'd have to pick it up and throw it to them. Even though we had balls with bells in, I still had to do this. So they would use my ball with the bell in at the starter lesson, like the warm up. After the warm up, they do I'd have to do dribbling, like with basketball, or I'd do dribbling with football or hockey and things. And they let me do hockey, but they never let me do basketball or football. They never let me do badminton either, which I was kind of glad at because it looked kind of boring. So no offense, but and tennis, they wouldn't let me do tennis, and they wouldn't let me do dodgeball, which again I'm glad. I don't not really my thing. Bench ball as well. If you know what bench ball is, you stand on the bench and just throw the ball to teams and try and get them off the bench. Glad I didn't get to do that, but well, that's what I thought when I was playing when I was being their ball girl. I was like, okay, it's fine. To the story now. I remember one lesson. I was like, it clicked. I was like, no, why am I not actually doing the PE lesson? I'm just running around, and then my teacher, I'm gonna bait her. I don't even care. Miss Bidas would be like, you need to hurry up. You need to hurry up. And I'd just be like, I think she was the only. I don't think she was the only teacher that done it. I think everyone was accustomed to do it because they didn't know. I don't. I'm well, actually no, I do blame them. And then basically I'd be throw in. There's only one PE teacher that I never really had, but his name is Mr. Bridgen, and he taught the boys. But he always made sure that all our VI students never ever had that situation. I think we've only had him for one lesson. He made it really cool, but it was just like I can't do this lesson. So I remember telling her off, like, "Can I actually play? Can I get in a team and play?" No, you can't see the hoop. I think it was netball. You can't see the hoop. You won't be able to score. I in year 7 or year 8, I won a game of netball because I was really good at scoring because I can jump really high. And sometimes what they used to do is they take me out of a lesson and make me just practice scoring, and away from the lesson. And I was just like, why can't I just join in a team? Why am I being isolated? And I just walked out the lesson. I was like, I'm not doing it. I got my 1-to-1. She was really easygoing, so I was like, we're going. We're walking out the lesson. I felt really defeated. I felt really sad, and I thought even if I do get a detention, number one, I'm not going. Number two, my mum ain't gonna care because I I knew I was gonna get in trouble because I hadn't done anything wrong. Because I'm not getting the right thing. There's no point in me being there if you're not gonna use me. After that, guys, I got the best treatment. I was allowed to be in the games. I almost won on my birthday. We did a netball game and I almost won. I think we actually did. I can't even remember. No, I think we did. I think we beat the other team, and I was like, "Let's go!" See, because I was on the, I was in goal, so I was shooting the goals and stuff, and I got to join in, and I never got excluded from a PE lesson ever again. And I thought I was having a detention come my way. I feel like she did contact VI, but I told them what happened, so they were just like, "Well, you're not in trouble." No, she was trying to be like, "Oh, she walked out." Who cares? That's another inaccessible. Let's move on to apps now. Apps that I find a little bit tricky to use. Now, TikTok. I love TikTok. I love a good scroll. That's not inaccessible. Although my phone does this thing where it goes to the beginning of the I'll be on loads of TikToks and it will go right back to the beginning, it will refresh. Don't know if any other user has this or any blind user has this. I've tried to clear cache. I've turned on that feature, when it at refresh, turn that on, it doesn't work. So could somebody let me know? I've even considered logging in and out, but I just cannot be bothered to do that. So that's a bit weird. It's when I try and search for things or go to other people's profile, or if I'm even editing a video that's why I really upload on TikTok, because I can't, because there'll be buttons, but you know how voiceover reads. Hold on, let me get it. There's it. No. So, you know how it reads everything out on the screen? It will basically be like this, with no buttons, and then I'll click something and everything will, basically if I'm doing a video, it'll kick me out, or it'll give me another video on my camera roll that I don't want to upload to TikTok, like a piano cover that I don't want to upload because I'm trying to do it in an order. It's really annoying. So also, it's really good for, especially how I want to become a beat producer, because if we want to put our beats on TikTok, why isn't it accessible to the blind? It should be. It's ridiculous. I was talking to someone else that's blind. I have a couple friends, blind friends, and they were even saying that they find it really hard to navigate it. Now, YouTube's very accessible. The only problem that I've had with YouTube is, I don't know. There's been a few. There's not really been like all the buttons I can click on and things, but there'll be moments where they've changed up the format and it's really really good with voiceover, and it will just make it really difficult. I don't know why they do that. Especially, what I really want them to do is, if there should be like an editing software for blind people where they can do their thumbnails. I used to have to ask my sister or my brother or even my mum to edit my thumbnails for me because I don't really use thumbnails. I feel like there needs to be something on YouTube where you can, like, an editing software for blind people. I'm getting better with like iMovie and stuff. That's quite accessible. But also, there should be like image descriptions of thumbnails. So when I'm going to click on a video, there should be a little button I swipe up, and then I can view what the thumbnail is. It'll be really cool to have that, because then I can like know what, because I know it reads the title out, but you can have video description, photo descriptions on, like, using alt text on Instagram. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Another app that I've tried to use, I actually paid for, was FL Mobile. FL Fruity Loops is basically a digital audio workstation. It's like Logic or GarageBand, and it's really, really, I think it's quite good. My classmates use it, so I was like, okay, let me try and download it. Because I was talking to my lecturer, and I was like, yeah, I wonder what beat making software I can use. And someone shouted FL, so I was like, okay, let me do it. It cost £12, which I got back, by the way. I log in now. Tell me why I can't move my screen. Tell me why I'm stuck. I plug my MIDI in. If you don't know what MIDI is, it's like a keyboard, and you can use that to play digital instruments and things. Couldn't do a thing. Couldn't go anywhere. It was awful. I was stuck. Couldn't go anywhere. I was like, why did I pay £12? I mean, it could be my fault. You could argue that I should have done the research. But us, as blind people, we shouldn't have to do that. Your apps need to be accessible for everyone, not just blind people. Those with, those who need caption, like deaf people, those who have a little bit of sight, those with photosensitive epilepsy. No, you need to make it accessible to all users. And it just frustrates me that the disabled community just get enough, like, it's just hard to do things. It's really, really annoying. Another app that can annoy me is GarageBand. I use it to make most of my beats. Sometimes I'll get where there'll be instruments and it won't tell me what it is, and it'll add things in that I didn't even add in. It's accessible because it's Apple, but there will be some things that's like some bugs that really, really frustrate me. I also have used Ableton Live before, and I like that, but it didn't really do anything with MIDI. So that's really it. There's also been some other accessible apps like games. There was one which said it was for the blind. I downloaded it, couldn't use it. There was this Harry Potter game, and if you know me, I love Harry Potter, and I researched into it. So it's only Harry Potter games for the visually impaired, and I searched it up, and it was like, oh yeah, it says yeah, it is. Guess what happens? It was not. I couldn't move anywhere. I even turned off my screen. I turned on direct touch, where you can, if you touch the screen, gestures will come up and you can no, didn't do anything, couldn't move anywhere. It's ridiculous. Like, why are we making gaming so inaccessible for blind people? There's a game that I want to recommend called Blind Legend. Anyone can play it. You're playing a blind knight, and your wife gets captured, and your kid guides you through many obstacles. That game's good, but there is a lot of bugs. If you want me to play it, can you go down below and put in the comments, play a Blind Legend, and I don't know if I'll be able to play the whole game, because I'll get to a certain point and I'll just die, like, no matter what I do. That's really annoying. There's a game called Game World, which is for everyone, mostly blind people with audio. It's an audio game. There's also one called Paladins, which I'm playing on my Braille note. That's another thing. My Braille note, I tried to get, like, doors on that, and they just weren't accessible, like FL Mobile, I think, I think it was some other beat making software. But yeah, I'm really, really, really disappointed with some accessible apps. Now let's move on to really weird, like, things people have about blind people, misconceptions. The first one is that we are not happy. I am happy because how am I not meant to be? I mean, I'm born like this, so there's nothing really not to be happy about, because I've adapted to live how I am. Like, I've adapted to read Braille, I've adapted to use my cane, I can use Braille notes. And I imagine being sighted and not having this really cool computer you can just tap away on. And it's just, I love it. Like, I really like my machines, my Braille machines. And there's this one called the Mountbatten. It's the best Braille machine ever. It's it's Australian, but when you I'm not going to try and do the accent because I'm just going to fail. But you click it and it says good day. And sorry if I offended anyone, but yeah, I loved that one. But there was a couple bugs, like it was really loud. I also had this embosser, which I used to talk to my brother and my uncle about a lot, so they probably know what it is. But basically, you get some paper. If someone writes down, if you go on a computer and you hook the embosser up to the computer, or even the Braille note, because you can't, because I can put things on the USB. But if I write basically like a letter to someone in Braille that's blind for the RNIB, just a thing, just for example, I can hook that up to the Braille note, hook it up to a computer, and then that will emboss that into Braille so people can read Braille. So there's really cool machines. So yes, we are happy. Now this is a bit of a light subject, and I'm not going to try and be insensitive to those that have lost their sight. It might be a bit different because they've been used to having their sight and it's gone. And I feel I try not to pity anyone with a disability because it's their life. It's a disability doesn't define you as a person. You're not based. You're not. If you're a person, you're not based on your disability. If you look at me, you're not going to be like, oh, she's the blind one. I know a lot of people do that, but a lot of people say, oh no, she's clever, she's kind, and all that. Well, hopefully they do. But yeah, you shouldn't look at someone and the first thing you think about them is being blind. I used to think that a lot when I was younger. I used to be, well, when people think of me, do they think about my disability? Um, if you have lost your sight or you've lost your hearing or the ability to walk, then yes, it can be hard. But I feel like you'll be more happier. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. You'll feel more happy if you've lost it already, or like from a young. Because I got diagnosed at like I think it was close to my first birthday. So yeah, I feel like. But those that I mean, there's Chris McCausland. Look at him now. He didn't win Strictly. That was annoying. I wanted him because it would be the first blind person, but I don't associate him with just being blind. I associate him with the stand up he does. I don't watch his stand ups all the time and go like, oh, he's the blind one. Also, this other person called Toby. I'm not sure what his handle is. I think it's like Tobes. He's really funny. I think it's Blind Tobes, and you should watch his videos because he had this story where he was walking and someone grabbed him and put him in, made him cross the road and he got lost. But he does it in like a comedic way, and I feel like he doesn't let his sight loss. And the same with Lucy Edwards. Yes, there'll be moments where you'll have down days, but I feel like we are happy. Even if you have lost your sight, you'll get to a point where you are happy and it won't, like, it doesn't define you as a person. The next misconception that we get is that we don't have the lights on. I have my lights on all the time. Now, those who cannot see anything, they have lights on as well because it's like you can kind of sense it's there. Like, there's this blind person on YouTube that senses the sun. She can feel it on her face, even though she has no light perception at all. I have the lights on all the time. My sister's just like, why have you got all the lights on? Like, you don't need them. I love Christmas as a blind person because I can see all the tree lights. And it's really cool because I'll have like kids come up to me and just shove lights in my face. Now, the other day, my neighbour came and started like shoving, I think it was like glow sticks or candle into my face. I was like, can you see that? And I was like, because I can't see all lights. Some lights are like too, like they're too dim, so I can't see over a certain frequency. So yeah, another thing is that we don't do anything. We're not independent. We don't cook. We don't clean. We don't live on our own. Blind people live on their own. There's so many blind people that live on their own. There's so many blind people that go into the community. I met this blind counsellor. She has kids. That's another thing. I'm going to link that in a minute. She goes out. She came to my school. Like I don't think she even had a guide dog. I think she had a cane. She was a counsellor, and she used to talk to me for ages. And we just chatted and chatted and chatted. And she went out and done a load of things. I don't know her name because this was over a few years ago now. But no matter what you're doing, I hope you're having a good time. Blind people, another misconception is that blind people don't have kids and they're not parents. There's so many blind people that are kids, that are parents, not just to like humans, fur babies as well. Well, they have to if they're getting a guide dog. Guide dogs are magical and they can just take you wherever they go. They have to be trained, and you don't just hang on to a guide dog and they just walk you to, for example, to like a door, or they open things for you. I used to think that when I was a kid, though. No, they get trained on a route, and it's up to you because you're bigger than the dog to walk to that route. They can pull you in that direction. If they're not properly trained as well, which is rare, they might get you into the wrong route. So please don't think a guide dog's magical and they just take you wherever. They don't do that. Look, I got sorry, I have a misconception that I had from like young when I was in primary school, that my cane was as well like it could sense things in front of me. I've had so many kids. This kid one time said, "Is it like a camera?" Because I was like, "It's like my eyes. I walk around and I can feel things," and they think it's like it has like this thing and it just senses where everything is. Another misconception, another other misconception is that all blind people see nothing or all blind people see black. That is not the thing. That's not the case. Blind people see there's loads of different things that a blind person can see. 90% of blind people see like lights, shadows, and colours, while the other 10% they don't see anything at all. And it's not black. It's just like because I can't see anything. It's just nothingness. I don't really know how to explain it because I can see light perceptions and stuff. Or I'll get people be like, "Oh, can you see colours?" Or if I hold this right up to your face, like I said earlier, no, I can't see things if you're just shoving something into my face. I can sense if my hands um in my face, like coming like or something goes across my face. Like someone will do that, and I'll be like, "No, go away." And they'll be like, "How do you know?" Or this other thing, blind people are lying and they can actually see. No, this is just a silly thing. This is a silly misconception. We don't do that. Oh, this is a final misconception. All blind people read Braille. This is common for those that have lost their sight because I mean you can still write. You can write with a pen and stuff. If you learn to write your name, I guess it goes over time. But no, not all blind people read Braille because Braille is kind of phasing out over the years. We want to go. Well, not we. I don't know about we, but I definitely don't. I I've heard that many people now want to start doing like audio. So instead of reading in braille, it'll be audio books, and instead of writing in braille, you'll basically speak into something and write like that. Which I feel like it just defeats the whole object, and it's just a bit lazy because sighted people have the chance to basically use a pen and write with ink and stuff. And Braille gave us an it was hard. I hated learning Braille. I wanted to give up at like what 4. I started learning, or even before that, maybe 3. I was like no. But learning Braille was hard. And a lot of people say that must be hard, isn't it? Yes, but I would I say the same thing to you. Oh, it must be hard learning how to read and write. But yes, not every blind person knows Braille. Not every blind person knows Braille because they might have learned it when they were in school and then just forgotten about it. Because now technology is advanced, we don't have to sit at a machine and type a letter to someone and give it to someone. It's not like that anymore. We can type a message on our phone because of this, and Braille is no longer needed for most blind people. But I feel like it's good to learn because if you ever want to read, if you're out on the shop, especially with medication, you want to have to read the Braille. But they need to have it in uncontracted and contracted. Only my parent, my mum, or someone's going to get this. It's like basically some Braille cells are shortened and some aren't. But anyway, those are the misconceptions. Now we're going to move on to the bit of a silly question. Some of them are really interesting. I want to start with this first one. Can blind people dream? Can you see in your dream as well? Those are the two questions. Blind people can dream, yes. That's the less common one, but it's can you see in your dream? The answer is no. Now I'm blind, so I don't I've basically dreams are basically things that have happened in your life, and they're also like other things that I don't know how to basically explain it, but like you know how you can see in your dream and everything, like you'll know everything where your home is. Yes, you'll know it's a dream because it's a bit slightly altered. Like I know I'm dreaming because there'll be like a light switch outside my room or where it's not meant to be, or there'll be like an alcovey bit, or things won't. I'll just know I'm in a dream. But you need to. It's important to know that blind people, if you've lost your sight and you start dreaming, you can dream that you still have your sight, but it goes over time. So dreams are basically what you know, and it's basically how you experience that, but it's also turning it into like a. I don't really know how to describe it. No, I can't see in my dream. I can see lights. I can. My audio is really good. I can hear a lot in my dreams because a lot of people. And this is coming in a minute. This is also a misconception, but it's also a question. I'm going to include it in the question. I can't see in my dream. Not every blind person can see. I've never even had a dream about seeing because think about it. We don't know what seeing's like, so no, we can't see in our dream. I remember my granddad asked me that when I was really little, and I found it really fascinating. I don't find it rude when you ask me that because it's a fascinating thing. I can only see light perception because a dream is what you know, but basically twisting things into other, like, yeah. So that, yeah, I can't see in my dream, and not every blind person has this. But remember, we were born like this, so we just dream about how, if we're dreaming about something, we basically dream with ourselves. We can't see anything. And if you've lost your sight again, you will dream about having your sight still, but then it will go. Because I've seen this blind person talk about this isn't the same for every blind person. We don't put them in a box. So even if you've lost your sight, you might stop dreaming. You might stop seeing in your dreams immediately. So yeah. The next question is, can blind people live on their own? That's going back to the misconceptions. Yes, they can. Another misconception: are blind people happy? Yes, they are. How to interact with a blind person? This is a bit of okay. I would say it's a silly question because if you generally don't know, then that's fine. But it's just talk to us as we're normal. You don't need to shout because I keep getting that, or talking to us as we're deaf. Or you don't need to talk to them like you're talking to an animal because I would just completely shut down and I won't talk to you anymore because that's weird. A lot of older people do that, and kids, not kids, but like not kids, but I mean like when I was in year 7, that 11 to 13, they'll try and do that. I had this friend, oh, she was awful. I don't even know if I'm going to say her name because I don't know if she'll see my videos. I'm going to say it, Maria. She would talk to me in a baby voice. Hated it. Hated it. She called me darling, sweetheart. Go away. Like, what? No. Weird. I have a friend now, her name's Lily, and she's never spoken to me like that. She treats me like I'm normal. She asks me questions, but she's like, oh, I don't mean to offend you, but I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, I like when people ask questions. As long as they're not silly, it doesn't offend me. But don't talk to me. Just, yeah. Another thing is, don't feel like you can filter words around us. So like, oh, I went to see this movie. Did you did you go and hear the movie last night, or did you go and feel your family? That's just a bit weird. Like, I wouldn't say, yeah, I'm gonna go feel my family. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go and see my family, because obviously I'm not gonna see them, but it's just part of the vocabulary. Why am I gonna change that? Like, I'll say it. My sister will be joking like, "Oh, you can't say that." It's really funny. This other thing that a lot of people do as well. My nan does this sometimes, and my auntie, and even my granddad. They're like, "Oh, it's over there," and I'm like, "Where?" It's really funny. Another question. I don't. Well, I don't get asked it anymore. How many fingers am I holding up? And you know why they ask it. They're doing it to prove if I'm blind or not. Really gets on my nerves. Honestly, I'm just like, yes, I'm blind. Like, why are you trying? This silly kid who's little, who's really little, must be about 6 or 7, was trying to do this to me, and I was just like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna. Or I'll get it right. I'll guess right when I'm a kid, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're not actually blind." Half the time, I've either guessed right or I've just said a random number. Honestly, it's so annoying. I can't stop doing that. Even adults do it. Don't say that to a blind person to prove that they're blind or not. It's ridiculous. Like, it needs to stop. It's an old joke. It's not even funny. And I remember this guy that I wasn't really friends with. He was just in my thing in my school, and he was like, "Yeah, some kid tried to do that," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll chop them off, then you won't have any." And they ran away. I might have to start doing that. But yeah, it's really, really funny. Can blind people have kids, or can blind people look after kids? I have looked after many, many kids. Even when I was younger, I used to try to look after my sister. But we were so close in age that we kind of just done it to each other. So yes, I can. Blind people can hold babies. Blind people can look after kids, walk with kids, babysit. They can even have their own kids. Like, I don't get it why our sight is, if we don't have sight, we don't know how to feed a baby, or we don't. It's ridiculous. I just don't get it. Like, you're gonna have to grow up and have kids at some point if you want to, and if you need extra help, you'll have someone to help you, and if you don't, you can contact family. And if you don't have family nearby, then you're going to have to kind of learn. And if you already know how to live independently for yourself, you can do that for your baby. That's another thing. Do blind people live on their own? Yes, a lot of blind people live on their own. And can blind people cook? Yes, a lot of blind people can cook. Do blind people go to school? I got asked this a couple of days ago at church, and I didn't want to be rude because I'm a really nice person. But they were asking me, yeah, it was one of the kids' mums. Do you go to school? And I was just like, I think they were thinking, do you go to like a special school? I get asked that so many times, and I don't think they're meaning to be rude, but I think some kid asked me that as well. Yeah, do you go to school? There's braille machines. There's loads of papers you can draw and you can feel what you've done. There's specialist staff if they do their job. Then yes, it works. Please don't ask this to a blind person because it's a bit. I mean, it's kind of insinuating that they're dumb and they haven't gone to school. And I know that they're not trying to be rude. I really know that this isn't them because they don't know. They've probably never been with a blind. They don't know. Can I draw? I get asked that a lot of times. Yes, I can. I can. There's a special paper I say called German film where you can draw anything and it will come out. You can feel it. So if I drew a person, I got my uncle to draw KSI. I think I still have it. Yeah, and it's so cool. So I have that. So now I kind of know what KSI looks like. He has a big head. Um. Anyway, I'm trying to think of more weird questions that have been asked, but they've all morphed into one. Oh, do I know how to use technology? Yes. Do I know how to use a phone? Now, this isn't just me getting asked this. A lot of blind people, like, I think they say, "Oh, you're not blind." Then someone was like, "Yeah, you're not blind because you know how to use your phone." I remember I was on this. I was on the train once, and I was going back from like an event at school. Late. It was like a late event. So I was coming home on the train. I normally get a taxi. I was coming home on the train, and some guy sat on the seats. So we were on one aisle, and the guy was on the right aisle or left. I think we were on the left, and he was on the right. And he actually turned to my mum and was like, "Yeah, does she use a machine like like a braille machine or braille computer?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "That's so fascinating. I like people like that because they don't just be like, 'Oh no, you can't use that, you can't do that.'" Or like I'll be on the phone and then someone will try and grab it and be like, "Let me help you." No, I know what I'm doing. I have voiceover. You're not going to know how to use voiceover. Like, silly. Like, it's silly. Can blind people enjoy TV and films? Audio description is a piece of audio or programming that goes alongside the film and describes what's happening. So that answers your question. We can watch films, Netflix, we can. And even if we don't, if there's audio description not available, we can kind of tell what's going on. BBC, ITV, Channel 4, all the main terrestrial TV channels have this, along with Netflix and Disney Plus and all that lot. So they have it. You can even get video, you can get DVDs, and on our TV we had this button which said audio description. You pressed it, and it would do that. Same with my brother's PlayStation. If we plug the DVD in, you could press the remote, and it will go on to audio description. There's also Fire Sticks. You can talk to them, or the Sky Glass. Even though that Sky just doesn't work, I try to chat to it, it just won't. It just won't do anything. We have audio. We have Google Assistant. We have Siri. We have all that lot that can help us. I'm gonna make sure that wasn't activated because yeah, okay, good. Because I'll say his name. I'll be saying my cat's name, and it won't even be activating. That's another thing. Can blind people have pets? I think someone said, can blind people take care of a cat? Well, I did for around 14 years. 14, 15 years. I'm going to end this podcast, but I just want to say thank you so, so much for anyone watching. And let me just talk about Christmas as a blind person. I wanted to keep that as a little surprise because I didn't really want to say I was doing that because I was like, let me wait and do it as a surprise because I've been planning it and I've been thinking I want to talk about Christmas. How do blind people celebrate Christmas? Now, those that have no sight, they'll fill the decorations and you can get like colours and things. I also wanted to quickly go back to Braille as well. This relates. I saw this video of a guy that just lost his sight and he didn't learn Braille because I think he found it a bit difficult, and so his girlfriend got him like an advent calendar. Well, not with braille on, but it had these foam numbers because he'd have to learn to read numbers and stuff. And when he felt the number, he knew what it was. Like, I can't foam numbers. I don't know what the numbers are or letters. You can even get foam letters. It was really really nice that she did that. If I were to get advent calendar, I'd probably get braille on mine because I know how to read braille. So advent calendars, they can be a little bit inaccessible, but I'll just get someone to tell me. Christmas tree, obviously you have all the lights. I love lights at Christmas. And when I was younger, if I ever wanted a present, it'll be like a light up toy or lamp. Or I got this really cool bubble machine. I think it's called a bubble tube. And all the fishes go around and I can just see all the lights and you can hear it. So I like things you can hear as well. We used to have this Christmas tin that was like a penguin and it used to go around and it would be like a music box. It did sound a bit creepy and we used to put our biscuits in. Don't know if we still have it. If we did, I would play it to you. I love music boxes. I saw this Harry Potter one and it was playing the Hedwig's theme. Oh, I love it. So yeah, and also my nan would get me birthday cards and even Christmas cards in Braille, or my uncle and his fiance would get me Christmas cards in Braille, and one time the Braille was squashed, so they altered it to make like they let the year after I could read it. It was just so generous, and I feel like people don't think about it when they give me a Christmas card. I don't think it means to be horrible. They'll just give me a Christmas card and then I have to get read to me. But now people are, and I like when you put like tactile things like bits of tinsel and stuff. That is how we enjoy Christmas, especially the wrapping paper, because sometimes wrapping paper or the boxes have little like pictures on. I really hope you enjoyed this podcast, guys, and thank you so much for listening. Sorry I've had to clear my throat so many times at this time of year, isn't it? Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you've watched it all the way through, can you put a Christmas tree emoji? If you haven't, that's absolutely fine. Christmas is the time for, you know, enjoying. I'm going to try and get this out either. I won't get it out on Christmas because there's going to be a Christmas medley. I'm going to get it out either on the Boxing. I might even get it out on Christmas Eve. I will think about it. Yeah, I might put it out on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day you'll have the medley, and then on Friday I'll upload one of the songs from the medley that I've been working on, but GarageBand's been a little bit slow. I'm ending the video, guys, or the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully I'll be getting some guests very soon, and I will see you very soon for another episode of the Coffee Break podcast. Codpast. I'll see you very soon for another Coffee Break podcast. Until then, have a lovely Christmas. And if I do put this out on Christmas Eve, you've got one more sleep. And then you're getting your presents. Another thing is food before we go. Food on Christmas. The mince pies and the Christmas dinner and the Christmas pudding. Love it. It's been me with Coffee Joe with the Coffee Break podcast. And I'm signing off. Merry Christmas, everyone. Goodbye for now. Take care. See you soon. Bye.